The chance of falling out of a slide is low, but never zero. Same goes for the slide itself. 1997 in California. There was a high school named Napa. At that time, the senior students were preparing to graduate. But few days earlier, teachers came into class and announced that the school would organize a water park trip before graduation. That park was one of the largest water park at that time. Among the student was Quimby Ray Galati, an 18-year-old honor student known to everyone as the Pink Princess. On June 2nd, all the seniors gathered at school. Because that was the day of the trip. 3 buses arrived to take them there. After about a 90-minute bus ride, as the students got off, they went straight to the park and spent the whole day enjoying themselves. By late afternoon, when they were still playing, a teacher announced over a loudspeaker that all Napa High School students should prepare to leave. While students were gathering their things, one student ran up to a teacher and said that many classmates had not yet come back from the water. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the park. Teacher went over to witness a horrific scene. Many people were lying on the ground injured, twisted. Among them were students from Napa High School. Here's what had happened. A group of about 25 to 30 students had decided not to play normally, but to attempt to set a record. They chose the tallest slide in the park, called the Bonsai Slide. Their goal was to set a record for the most people sliding down at the same time. Ignoring security guards' warnings, they climbed to the top, held hands, and began sliding down together. Just a short way down, the slide cracked and broke apart. They fell from a height of 10 to 20 meters, and because they were holding hands, almost everyone was pulled down together. In total, about 32 students were injured, and 1 student died. That student was Quimby. What made this worse is that Quimby was an only child. Her mother said, on that day, Quimby called home during school trips multiple times because she missed her. After that, the park underwent major safety improvements. They even changed the name to avoid public association with the disaster. Here's the new name. It was the morning of March 27, 2018, in Bethnal Green, East London. Michaela Boer had just dropped her child at nursery and went on a walk with a friend along Burdett Road. At the same time, on a nearby Higgins Homes construction site, a tower crane was moving a pallet stacked with more than 2 tons of bricks toward a loading bay on the 5th story. You might have thought the brick was going to fall and end Michaela's life, right? Only if there wasn't any safety net there. Well, you're right. Without any sign, the load gave away, and hundreds of bricks rained down from 5 stories high. Some slammed into the site itself. Others spilled over the edge and crashed onto the pavement below. Michaela's friend felt one brick hit her hand and stumbled back in shock, but Michaela was caught directly in the path. In a blink, she was buried beneath rubble. Emergency crews fought to revive her at the scene before rushing her to hospital, but the impact from bricks falling nearly 50 feet, each one striking with the force of a car crash, was too much. By the next day, she had passed away. Cavalies, Italy, in 1998. A U.S. Navy EA-6B Prowler aircraft was conducting low-altitude training flights. Low-level flying is a difficult technique because pilots must avoid obstacles like mountains, birds, or power lines. That day, after all checks looked fine, they began the training near a mountain range in Italy. It was winter. While flying, the pilots heard a loud impact, but because they were flying so fast, they didn't know what they had hit. Since the aircraft still seemed operational, they returned to base. Once back, they saw the wing had a severe tear. They couldn't figure out what they had collided with, so the matter was dropped. Meanwhile, in Cavalies, a small town in the Dolomites, there was a cable car system used by skiers and tourists. A guard noticed something strange. Many people were going down on the cable cars, but nobody was coming back up. Alarmed, he called other staff. When rescue workers went to investigate, they discovered a horrific scene. A cable car had crashed to the ground. About 20 people were inside, and all 20 had died. Investigators found that one of the cables had been chopped. Witnesses reported seeing a military aircraft flying low in the area. It turned out that the EA-6B Prowler had flown too low and struck the cable, slicing it in 2. At that moment, a car carrying 20 passengers was ascending the mountain. With the cable cut, it plunged 80 meters to the ground, killing everyone instantly. The noise the pilots had heard earlier was the collision with the cable. Inside the plane, there should have been a recording of the flight. However, upon returning to base, one of the crew members secretly took the tape home and burned it, afraid of what it might reveal. The pilots were later tried, but acquitted on grounds that it was an accident. Still, they were dismissed from the military and banned from flying ever again. 20 years and 2,671 kilometers away from the previous incident. Winters in Moscow are long and merciless. Snow piles up on rooftops, and sheets of ice cling to buildings for months at a time. It's a familiar sight and danger. A father was walking his young son home from kindergarten. The two bundled against the cold. As they passed a 9-story apartment block, the silence was interrupted. A massive slab of ice, weighing several hundred kilograms, broke free from the roof and came crashing down. It struck straight in the sun direction. Yet in those final seconds, Dad's body shielded his son. The child survived, unharmed physically, but left standing in shock beside his father's body. Neighbors rushed to comfort him as authorities quickly sealed off the street. News of the tragedy spread fast, sparking outrage. But similar incidents had been reported across Russian cities that winter, and residents placed the blame squarely on negligent building managers who failed to clear rooftops of snow and icicles. The fury forced Moscow's mayor's office to promise stricter enforcement, but the danger never disappeared. Even today, falling ice remains a silent killer in Russian winters as well as other places. In a small village near Guwahati, Assam, a farmer worked quietly in the fields. It was a clear day. Nothing in the sky suggested what was about to come from it. Out of nowhere, an object came hurtling down. A massive blue-veined rock struck him straight in the face. People around ran to him in horror. On the ground beside him lay shattered pieces of what looked like a meteor, chunks of solid ice, weighing nearly 30 kilograms in total. A man whose life was born from a star, claimed by one itself. The scene was documented, and the story of a cosmic death began making its way through local news. People treated the object with awe. But days later, tests revealed the fragments weren't cosmic at all. In fact, they were human waste, mixed with blue chemical disinfectants, known in aviation circles as blue ice. When an airplane's sewage system leaks at high altitude, the waste can freeze instantly in sub-zero air, forming massive blocks of ice. As the plane descends into warmer air, those blocks can break off and plummet to the ground like falling boulders. That's what struck the farmer. Not a gift from the stars, but a shit block from a passing airliner's toilet. The cause of his death comforted his family at first, but later, the truth turned it into immense sorrow. Yet, even in this truth, a lesson remained. His family learned, as all grieving families do, that death often comes without reason, warning, or the chance to prepare. Not every loss carries a moral or a warning to be cautious. Those cases weren't meant to stop you from living your life, but to live your life so fully that even sudden death like this will leave a no regret.